So you want to implement a building system for your game. Well, I'll demo you mine real quick and then I'll teach you how to make one. And additionally, I'll teach you how the different parts work so that you can edit them and adjust them according to your own needs. So here's a quick demo on mine. You have a block, you can place it wherever you like. And you see a kind of a preview on what it's going to look like. Additionally, you can rotate the blocks. You can obviously stack them. You can place them really far, really close. And yeah, that's it. Let's get into the video. So now that we're within the game or a base plate, wherever you're implementing this building system, we'll go into Starter GUI and we'll create a Screen GUI. So you can search that up. And within the Screen GUI, we want a text button. And now we can just modify that button a bit. So if you want a system like mine, you'll have it somewhere here on the side. You'll scale it a bit. It doesn't actually matter that much. And then we'll just get a properties tab here. For some reason mine wasn't here. And then we'll just edit the button's properties here. So let me just put mine here so you can see it clearly. So we can, for example, change the color to red, sure. And then let's just add some transparency. There. And then we can edit the button text, so we can just have build mode, for example. And then finally, let's change the button's name so we can have build button. And now within the Screen GUI, let's make a local script. And before we start scripting anything, we can change the name of it as, for example, building. Now then, within the script, we'll start with some variables. So we want to get the player, and for that we'll do local player equals game get service, and then we want the player service, and then we'll get the local player. And then we want the mouse, so we'll do local mouse equals player and get mouse. And finally, we also need the user input service, so local and now we have our most basic variables. Additionally, we need to know the buttons and some other stuff, so we'll do local screen GUI is the script.parent, and then we'll do local build button screen GUI.build button, so here. And lastly, we can also make a boolean for the build mode, and we'll set it to false. Now then, we can start writing some functions. So first we want a function for turning the build mode on. So we'll have a local function. Build mode. Let's actually capitalize that. So build mode on. And then we'll do build mode on equals true, obviously. And then we can change some of the button's attributes. So when it's clicked, we might want to do the background color as, for example, green, so the player knows that it's triggered. So now it's green. And then we'll create the preview part. So we'll call that a sample part. We'll do we'll actually have to add a variable for that first. So let's just do what a struggle. So now we'll have our sample part here. So we have sample part equals instance.new and then just a regular part. But here you might want to have some sort of definition for whatever you want, and then you can duplicate it here instead of the sample part. So if you want to do furniture, you'd maybe have the furniture here. And then we'll do sample part dot parent equals game.workspace so that we can see it obviously. And then we'll just add some other attributes. So and now we'll have a loop for the sample part placement. So whilst build mode is on, we'll wait a second so the loop doesn't crash. Oh, and we need a sample part position too, so let's add that here. So now we're setting the position as wherever the player's mouse is. Typo there, it's a mouse, not a mouser. Point 0.6 is for the block height. And now we just have a target filter, so the mouse doesn't glitch out by going on the block again and again. So thinking that we're trying to place the sample part on the sample part. We can add some turning and rotation functions, but we'll also need a position C-frame, so we'll do a local position C-frame. And then we'll do the rotation, so local sample, and we'll set that to 0 because we don't want to have a rotation in the beginning. Same goes for turning. And then let's just add a sample part position too. So oh, seems yeah, we already have that. Great. All's good. And now we'll just check some things on the sample part turning. So we'll do if sample part turning is greater than 89, then sample part position has to be sample part position plus 2 for the blocks. Kind of height, I guess. If this one's the width, then you'll have the height here. And then we'll have a vector 3 point new there. And same goes if sample part turning is equal to 180, then we want to reverse the change. So we can just copy this here, but instead of adding, we'll now subtract. And finally, we want the sample part C-frame, which, so the position C-frame dot C-frame equals a new C-frame with the sample part position times the C-frame dot angles, and then we'll have 0.math.rad and then sample part rotation, and then we'll have math.rad sample part turning. Sorry, actually it's not position C-frame. So there, now we have the build mode on function, and now we just want a function in case the build mode is off, so we'll do another function for that. We can call it build mode off. And here build mode on will obviously be false. And then we can change the build button's color to red again. So that's 1,0,0. And now if it's turned off and we still have a sample part, we obviously don't want that. So we'll just delete that. So we'll take the sample part, and if it is not nil, so in other words, if it does exist, then we'll just destroy it. And yep, now we're done with functions. So now we want to actually check if the build button has been clicked, and if so, then we want to execute our build mode on function. So we'll do our build button mouse button click, and then if so, when this happens, we'll connect it to a function. And here, if build mode on is equal to false, then we want to execute the build mode on function. Let's call this build mode on function so we can distinguish between the variable and the function. And else, so if build mode is already on, then we want to turn it off, because then the player clicked it to turn it off. So we want to do our build mode off function. And now, just that we don't accidentally place blocks when the player is turning off and on the build mode function, we want to check if the mouse is inside the button. So we'll have a new variable, so mouse in build button, and set that to false. And then we'll do here build button dot mouse enter, and we'll connect it to a really short function where we'll just turn mouse in build button to true. And then we'll check if it has left, so we'll do once again build button, and now we'll have mouse leave, and we'll connect to a similar function where mouse in build button will be turned to false. And now we actually want to react to whatever the player does in build mode. So we'll take our user input service that we defined earlier here, and we'll do input began, and we'll connect it to a function with the parameter of input. And if the input is keycode and enum keycode dot t, so t for turning obviously, and build mode is on, then we want to edit the sample part turning and make that sample part turning, so what it currently is, plus 90. And then we'll just do percentage 360. And then we can just copy paste this for rotation. So let's put that here. But now the difference will be here we'll have R, and this will be sample part rotation, and this too. And we'll be able to alter in 30 increments. But here you can change these values to edit how much a part can be turned or rotated. So these two. And finally, we'll just check if the player clicks their left mouse button, so if they're trying to place block. So we'll have user input service dot input ended, so they stop holding their mouse button, and we'll connect that to a function once again. We'll have input here, make sure to actually write function. And we'll check if the input is what we think it is, so if they're clicking their mouse. And then obviously build mode will have to be on. And we'll have to have a sample part position. Then we can fire the server to place the block. So I'll just write this code, but then we'll have to place a remote event. So we can do game.replicated storage dot build event, and then we'll have fire server, and then we'll send the sample part position, the sample part rotation, and the sample part turning. Oh, and here also make sure to check if the mouse is in the build button, because we don't want accidentals, as I said. So if that's false, and if that's false, then we can have this happening, and remember to add an end here. Now the problem is that this does not yet exist. Other than also, yeah. And now everything's ready in our local script. So now in the replicated storage, we'll add a remote event. And we can, for example, call it build. And now in our service script service over here, we'll just add a basic script. And here we'll be receiving the Fire server requests that we have from the local script from each player. So we'll just take the part. So we'll get game.replicatedStorage.build event on server event, and we'll let's just get that players variable first. So and then we'll take the player, the position, the rotation Y, and rotation Z. And with these, we can make a new part. So we'll do local W part, and we'll make a new instance. And once again, if you want your own custom part, then instead of this, you'll have to have your part duplicated here. So if you have it in workspace, you'll have it just here instead of making a new part. And now we'll take the part. We can just name it for clarity. This is good if you're debugging or something, and we can just call it W part. And now we'll take the C frame and set it as the same that we had in the preview part, so the player actually gets the rotations that they wanted. There we go. And now here you can choose if you want your parts to be anchored, so if you want players to be able to push them over or not. So we'll do anchored, and I had it on false for my test, but you can have it however you like. And remember to always capitalize the parts. And then can collide. I'd suggest that you'd have that on true, so the blocks can be actually stacked. And that's it. And now you can also just make sure the part is in workspace, part.parent equals game.workspace. Now let's see how it works. So you go in game, you click your build mode, it's turned on. Now you can not place blocks for some reason.
Ten years later.
So I found the error. So the remote event is actually called build and not build event. So just delete event, go to your local script building, and delete the event part. So you have replicated storage build fire server. And here as well, you're receiving it from build, not build event. And now let's see if it works. So as you can see, we're placing blocks. We can stack them. They can fall over because I haven't anchored them. And additionally, we can rotate them, turn them, and turn off build mode. Toggle it, turn it off. And that's it for today's lesson. If you'd like to learn how to delete them, then make sure to subscribe, because I think I'll be doing a video on that next. Oh, and additionally, if you have any problems, then make sure to leave a comment so I can try and assist you.